Hello everyone, Scott Miles here, managing partner of the LeHane companies. Today's topic is again going to focus around individuals that are in transition or in search, and we're going to focus on one key question that always comes up, and I typically hear this is one of the most dreaded questions, and it can be answered one or two or asked one or two ways. Why did you leave your previous employer? Or if you're in an interview, people would say you have a very impressive resume, so why are you in the job market? Or what's the reason? So, reason for leaving. Now you have one shot to really diffuse any doubt in your audience's mind of why you left, because the last thing that you want to do is have the person that you're interviewing with or networking with trying to poke holes into what happened, because at the end of the day, isn't the real focus to be focusing on that position that you're interviewing for, or that individual that you're networking with that could potentially help set you up for whatever that next chapter looks like. So I come up with some components that should go into every single explanation of when you provide your reason for leaving. Number one is always say something positive about your previous employer. Now the reason you do that, it's a psychological move. Because if we're talking and you start off by saying something positive, you're showing me that there's no bad blood or ill will or resentment of the situation that you're in due to being displaced. Number two, always provide a high-level overview of your previous employer. Not going into details, but the reason that you're doing this is the individual that you're interviewing with or networking with may not have ever heard of the company that you previously worked for. Number three is what I like to call the meat and potatoes, but what that really is providing a backstory leading up to the separation. Now, it's not trying to pass the buck here by any means, but what you're doing is truly painting a picture of reality of what took place in what happened during your separation. And number four is this is where you flip the script, because you clearly answered their question. But now, by flipping the script, you set up by showing what your value proposition is for the current position that you're interviewing for, or in a networking situation, for the individuals to give them a clear picture of the value that you bring to the marketplace. To recap, number one, say something positive about your previous employer. Number two, high-level overview of what your previous employer did in the organization that you work for. Number three was again providing a strategic backstory of what transpired leading up to your separation. And number four would be the value proposition that you're bringing to the new company or to the individual that you're networking with. So the question then is, how do we tie this all together with these individual components? Well, here's what I'll do. I'll make up a fictitious company, and we'll call the company XYZ, and I'll take it from the top, just talking through the individual transition points, just to give you the framework of how this would all then be tied together. So if we're sitting in an interview situation, here's how it might go. So Scott, why did you leave XYZ company? So number one, I would say, well, I had 15 very rewarding years with XYZ company. Number two, I'm not sure if you're familiar with XYZ company, but they are a global $1 billion technology company specializing in the print market space, specifically newspapers and publications. Transition into three. I'm not sure if you've been following XYZ, a company in the market space for the past few years, but like a number of other high-end technology companies, they've gone through a number of mergers, acquisitions, consolidations. Most recently, 3 months ago, they spun off the U.S. market to the South American market to help reduce overhead costs, which then ultimately resulted in the displacement of 20 individuals, me being one of them. Transition into number four. Unfortunately, my time with XYZ company was cut short, but I am extremely excited to be sitting down with you today to be discussing the director VP level for XYZ company. I truly believe with my 20 plus years of real world business experience, education, background, and certifications that I could be an immediate contributor to the organization. So hopefully today, that dreaded question of reason for leaving now becomes much more palatable. So if you did find this information beneficial, please like and subscribe, and look forward to some future content being pushed out to help you during your transition or search for your next chapter.